round 14, and we are in Mexico City. It's Sebo Campo on pole for mine at Babnis. Then it's Daniel Bogdasarov and championship leader Ravo. Then it's the other version of T Gabo and Akari. P. Sierra starts 7th. Then it's Milrez and David Camino. His teammate UK Ball alongside. Then it's Lawless Leclerc, Santino Milan, and iWorld. Then it's Marcus Nelson, Anok Huey, and Dash Sanchez. Leo starts 17th from August Regazzoni and his teammate Yuki Suo. Then it's Vasha Chantan and the two next EVs of Michael Novikov and Tommy. Well, we've got 14 rounds, almost done. We're here in Mexico City. It's always chaos here. All 5 lights go on. And the Mexico City Prix is green. And that's a very good start from Ionet Babinets on the front row. Already up into the lead, ahead of Sebastian Ocampo, who starts on the hard tyres today, as well as Ravo. But Ravo off doing an amazing start on those hard tyres. He's gonna try and lunge for the lead. Can he make the lead work? He's dived down the inside. Up into second he goes. As into the wall goes Sebastian Ocampo. Ocampo in the thick of it once again. Gabo also in the barriers. Unfortunate for those two drivers is that happened to them on the opening lap, especially on a track where, downforce is very important considering how high up we are. It's the track with we have the highest track above sea level here. Yuki Suo, 5 seconds for causing a collision. That's with Michael Novikov. As Ionet Babinets is still leading away from Ravo and Daniel Bogdasarov. Bogdasarov not really trying to make any overtakes. Yellow's in the third sector, and you can see why the two hyperdrives, both in the barriers. Both of them hit the wall. Ravo, the championship leader, not having a good day here in Mexico. Hasn't gotten any damage, thankfully, for his race. Tommy trying to overtake Dash Sanchez here. He's got the inside line coming through the last turn. As Anok Huey also faces turmoil. 5 seconds for causing a collision. Not too sure who with, but luckily for him, no damage caused. Babinets has got damage? Why is Babinets in the pits? Why was he in the pits? He got front wing damage, is what we're hearing from Hyperdrive Racing. And out of the race is P. Sierra. P. Sierra goes airborne, coming through turn number 3. And on lap 2 of 17, we've had our first retirement here in Mexico. On board with Yuki Suo then. He's the 19 car. He was in 19th. He's now up into 17th, but he's got a 5-second time penalty to boot. So 4 drivers had to come into the pits there. No, just 3. And Huey just fell off so badly that he's just encased in that part of the grid. VSC ending, so it'll be Bogdasarov leading us away. The Virgin, number 97. Pretty much out there, unchallenged, coming through the stadium section of the track. It's a pretty average way of coming through. Into the wall goes Akari. That's not average at all. Milrez also in the wall. Leclerc time penalty coming through there. A lot of carnage, and where else but Mexico to experience all of this? Is considering everything that happens into the wall and spinning Ionet Babinets there as well. Ocampo facing a little bit of trouble. Gabo, 5-second time penalty out of the race, has gone. And the race leader, Daniel Bogdasarov, out of the E-Prix. Someone has to tell him that you're not allowed to pick car number 1 down at a new championship that I'm going to be a part of, but I cannot say too much about yet. VSC ending then. And we go back racing. Milrez, your new race leader, as he attempts to try and take the championship lead in a handful of races' time. I do not see why people think that they can just rock up to a championship and drive with the number 1 without taking the championship. Anyway, Milrez coming through. That's very close to the wall for Milrez. Very wide and into the wall goes the Sports Line driver. both brawns into the barriers, colliding with Santino Milan. That is Leclerc also facing a little bit of trouble. This is really hard to call on because of the nature of incidents around here. So as the rest of the field now, that's Ocampo sliding his way up into 16th position. And Inet Babinas hits the wall. Was T Gabo? No, that was just Babinas on his own. He's lost his front wing again. He's going to be even more lost. Gabo fastest up. The Prix out of the race goes Milrez. Milrez out of the Prix. I think most championship hopes he has out with that as well. So it's still under VSC. On lap 4 of 17, we've had one driver retire on every lap so far. Well, we've had one driver retire for every lap. There was no retirement on lap 1. Yeah, there wasn't a retirement on lap 1. Sierra retired on lap 2. And all of those retirements have been at turn 3. So maybe we just have to open up that turn. But either way, virtual safety car again. And that's an RQE. An RQE out of the Prix. That is an RQE's car. That's an unusual place to retire from a race. But so it has happened. And a lot of carnage there. UK ball out. Ravo coming back onto the track. He's collided there. That's his front wing. That is Ravo's front wing. And I do believe, no, he's staying out there. He is staying out for whatever reason. Shockingly enough. VSC's flying, waving so rapidly. So it's Camino who leads the way from Ravo and Tommy. And right now I'd like to make a call out to all motorsport mobile game devs. Make a Formula E game. Do it. Just straight up do it. It'll help me. It'll be like Monopost as we see iWorld out of the Prix. Novikov spinning, hit by Yuki Suo. Leclerc time penalty, 10 seconds for Lawless Leclerc. Not the greatest day for the British driver, unfortunately. And Inet Babinas is very close to going a lap down, but he currently isn't. He is on the lead lap. But again, call out post to any budding mobile game devs. Make a Formula E game. Like Monoposto, try and make it better than Monoposto. Make it Gen 1. That is a big thing. Make it Gen 1 spec. As out of the race goes David Camino and Ravo. Also out of the race. Championship leader Ravo out of the Prix. Tommy comes to blows as well. Yuki Suo, we go on board with him. The top 3 all out of the Prix. Lot of weaving for Yuki Suo, but he's just about going to hold on there. Santino Milan right behind him. Sebastian Ocampo currently third. Out as well. That is hitting one of the cars as well. You can see with more cars that go out, better video quality gets. But yeah, that is absolutely unbelievable. Santino Milan, for only his second time in his career, leads an E-Prix. Last time he led, he won. Virtual safety car is ending. So let's see how this goes. We go back racing. Pretty clean. And I have to check something. We might have had 2 races in Santiago. I'm not too sure. Maybe it was Baku. No, we were in Buenos Aires. Virtual safety car out again. Vashi Chantan out of the E-Prix. And that is the Mahindra on the wall. We're now down to 12 runners in this E-Prix. Man, 12 races left. That's unbelievable. We're still racing? I think this is racing. A virtual safety car every lap. Can that be considered racing? I don't know. We go back racing then. On lap 6 of 17. Very deep from Santino Milan. That's Marcus Nelson in the wall. Lawless Leclerc up ahead. Looks to have spun. Nelson without a front wing. Where's his front wing gone? I don't know where his front wing is. Track's been cleared, so no retirements from that incident, thankfully. But Santino Milan is leading this race by a country mile from Daf Sanchez. Into the wall goes Santino Milan. but he's still in this race. Thankfully, he's just lost his front wing out. However, it's gone iron at Babinus. Babinus out. Virtual safety car flown. And that's going to help Santino quite a bit to come and nurse his car back home. Bring it into the pits. But he's only now entering the last sector. I don't know if he's going to survive. We've lost half of the field. 10 laps to go. I don't know if the field's going to finish this race. The drivers that finished today, if drivers do finish, are going to see themselves as get a massive points boost. We saw this in season 15 as out has gone Santino Milan. And that's a sideways racing car, we believe. We're not going to see that car because Dav Sanchez now inherits the lead of the race from Leo and Yuki Suo, your top three. Those are the same top two as the last time out in Santiago. Oh, that's interesting. But we are now down to the point where every driver who will finish this race will score points. This has been the most hectic race of the season so far, with so many drivers retiring. Marcus Nelson really fighting his car there as we ride on board with Sanchez coming through the first chicane, and he's at a wall. Leo out of the Prix, riding over the freaking Andretti front wing. That is Yuki Suo. Definitely got a bit of damage there at the very least. Don't know if that would have become a puncture. Hope it wouldn't have become a puncture. VSC still flying for Leo. But yeah. I cannot stop thinking about what if this game was based around Formula E. That would help this championship so much. Yes, the game probably wouldn't do as well as a purely marketed to be F1 game would, but doesn't have to. As we ride on board with Sanchez, sliding and out of the race goes Dav Sanchez, and also into the barrier goes the Toyota Gazoo car of Yuki Suo and his teammate in August Regazzoni. Virtual safety car flies on lap 8 of 17. There is absolutely no way we make it to the checkered flag with how it's going. Look at that. Novikov coming in for his second stop. He's probably the guy who's made the least amount of stops today. There's a lot of wavering from Marcus Nelson. Lap 9 of 17. We go back racing. Ocampo dropping off in the back of August Regazzoni. Quite smart decision that. As into the wall goes August Regazzoni. And Ocampo hits the front of the Toyota Gazoo car. So now blockade formed. Akari also involved in that. Leclerc having to take avoiding action and hitting the wall as a result. Nelson 5 seconds for colliding with Akari. That's Gabo hitting him. Jesus Christ, what is happening here? Novikov also getting in on the action. I cannot think about this without Careless Whisper playing. Akari is out of the E3. 9 of 17, and we're down to 6 runners in this race. We are not making it to the end. We have discontinued the practice of red flags. But this is probably how it's going to finish. If we don't see any more retirements, then these guys are going to have an absolute field day making their way up the order in the World Drivers' Championship. And for Sebastian Ocampo especially, he would love to be in the playoffs, and he would need it. And forcing his teammate into the barriers is August Regazzoni. Lap 10 of 17, flip and roll from Yuki Suo, which takes him out of the race as well as Marcus Nelson. And is Regazzoni still in this? Yes, he is. But he's coming through the pits now. Novikov's still in this race. Gabo's still in this race. Ocampo's still in this race. Those are the 4 drivers still racing. The fact that no one is going to score any less than 12 points if they do finish this race is stunning to me. This is going to be its own separate CapCut file because there is no way I'm keeping this with the main FEMC file when I'm editing it. Sebastian Ocampo, he's leading the way. He's got a little bit of damage, but a heck ton of tire wear, so he's definitely coming in at the end of this lap. if he does make it to the end of this lap and he hits the wall. You can see how robust that front wing was because that hit the nose cone. But Ocampo's still in this one. He's going to come into the pits. He does make it his way into the pit lane. So Novikov then, next one to come across this stadium section of this track, hits the wall, loses his front wing, and runs over it. August Regazzoni piling into him, also losing his front wing. And so Gabo up to P2, and Novikov, he's got a pit. Gabo's going to be the only man who doesn't have to pit. Look at that. Fastest lap goes to T Gabo, a 1:11.5, even with all those yellow flags. It's a quick lap. And Gabo closing in that 29 to the 76. Both drivers, we believe, running recycled numbers. As out of the race goes T Gabo, and everyone who finishes this race now will be on the podium. With 6 laps to go, it's all going to come down to whether or not Ocampo, Regazzoni, and Novikov can hold on, can finish this race. It's an old-fashioned race. Now, it's all about attrition. No fighting for a position. No, he forced me off. Just straight up attrition. If you finish this race, you're going to be rewarded heavily for finishing. But if you don't finish, it's not going to look good. As into the wall again. Sebastian Ocampo losing his front wing. Straightening up that steering wheel there. Track cleared. He's going to have to come in again. He does come in again. So Regazzoni and Novikov, as long as they don't collide with the wall, are going to be fighting for the lead here. But into the wall goes Regazzoni. Novikov clear. Running over that front wing is August Regazzoni. Shocked that brake marker, I believe. Whatever it is, it's not a physical object. As now Novikov, for the first time in this race, takes the lead. August Regazzoni comes in for his 4th stop. If he's able, that will be his last stop. Novikov coming through the first chicane, clean enough. It's always a worry seeing drivers come through that first chicane. Fastest first sector goes to Michael Novikov. As we see the top 2 come through that little triangle section of the track. August Regazzoni then coming through this part of the track. And you saw with Regazzoni there for a split second, his tire facing the wrong. Oh, out! That's the wall for Michael Novikov and Sebastian Ocampo. Yellow flags flying in the 3rd sector. Track's been cleared again. So thankfully, neither driver out of this race. With more drivers, it is more of a pile up. My God, what is happening down there? Into the wall again goes August Regazzoni. Unfortunately. And yeah, he's going to have to pit. So the top 2 now coming through into the 2nd sector. What is happening here? I have to take a look at all of this. I don't know what's happening here. 11 Industry. Simon Steck is gone. Oh no, he's still there. Never mind. I was really wondering what was happening to one of the best monoposto livery creators of all time. Turns out he just changed his identity. His identity is into the wall. Losing his front wing once again is Michael Novikov. And coming up to the scene of the incident once again is Sebastian Ocampo. And once again, about half a track behind, that is August Regazzoni. So on to lap 14 to 17, we go fastest lap to Sebastian Ocampo, 1:03.8. You rarely see any real quick laps being pushed in, and because of the amount of crashes that occur on board with Ocampo. He's still in this. How is he able to do this? This is brilliant stuff from Ocampo to hold on to this car. Into the wall goes August Regazzoni. And he has to reverse out of there. He does smartly get into reverse this gear. And without hitting the wall. He's back in this. This should be your top 3 for the end of the race. And what a top 3 it would be. Sebastian Ocampo, one of the greatest rookies the championship's ever seen, as he struggles, loses his front wing. Half of it, thankfully, spinning as well. Yellow's in that third sector. So he's going to have to come into the pits. Yep, I was in sector 1. And that's for August Regazzoni coming through. And he's lost his front wing, so it'll be unsafe for him to come through this part of the track where Michael Novikov has just hit the barriers. This is something. This is some way to have a final 2 laps of the Prix. Soft tires going on to Ocampo's car. Will Novikov come out ahead? You bet your bottom dollar that he is. Novikov to the lead. Barreling towards turn 1 at speed. And you've got to worry as Novikov comes through. Out of the race goes August Regazzoni. Only 2 men currently would finish this race. It would be Novikov from Ocampo, the only 2 finishes. What a 2 finishes it would be. That's just wow. I have no words for this race other than wow. This has been one of the most hectic races I've ever had the right to commentate over. I wouldn't say pleasure, because a 2-horse race is not fun to commentate if there's nothing else going on. Novikov coming through the stadium section of the track. Can he keep it out of the wall? And he's in the wall. Goes airborne. Loses his front wing as Ocampo is out. Only 1 man is left in this E-Prix, and it is Michael Novikov. As he now begins lap number 16, the penultimate lap of the E-Prix. This will be the last stop he'll be allowed to make, because the pit lane will close once he's through sector 1. VSC is ending. And on the penultimate lap of this E-Prix, we're down to 1 last car. And it is Michael Novikov, who we're going to ride on board with for the rest of this race. That's not much of a race now. If he comes across the line on lap 17, he's won. If he doesn't, then that's it. No one scores points. And this will be the 3rd time, I believe, where no one will score points in one of these races in the championship. Unfortunate circumstances is here in Mexico City. But it is the Dia de los Muertos, so I'm not too sure what we would have expected. It is not the Day of the Dead, by the way, guys. I thought it was just kind of funny to say. So into the stadium section of the track, into the wall he goes, sliding and he's run over his own front wing as well. So does he come in? Would he be allowed to? I don't know if he would. He has to stay out. So on to the final lap here in Mexico City. Novikov leads the way, and Novikov is at the back of the pack. He is the pack. He's the only man left in this race. But he's got no front wing to traverse. It's the first turn. So coming through turn 1, he's in the wall. He's out of the race. Out goes Novikov. And no finishers will be the soup of the day here in Mexico City. No finishers. We still have a podium ceremony for some reason. Doesn't make sense. Classification doesn't matter. No finishers at all. So, championship standings, same as last time. And we're out in Santiago. So this race really has no reason to happen. So we will see you guys next time then, when the Formula E Monopoly Championship returns for the Tokyo E-Prix.